Hello, basketball fanatics, and welcome back to Clutch Time Stories. I'm your host, and tonight we're diving into the darker, more intriguing side of the game we all love. Because for every hero, for every champion celebrated on the podium, there has to be someone standing in their way. Someone the crowd loves to hate. Someone who, for a time, became the very embodiment of opposition. Tonight, we're talking about the NBA villains. Now let's be clear from the start. Being an NBA villain isn't about being a bad person. Far from it, it's about perception. It's about being the antagonist in someone else's story. It's about embodying the rival, the disruptor, the one who just wouldn't let the good guys win. And sometimes, it's about embracing that role, letting it fuel you. These are the players who made the game more dramatic, more passionate, and undeniably more personal. We'll explore a few legendary figures who donned the black hat, understand why they became villains, and maybe, just maybe, see if there was a method to their madness. You cannot talk about NBA villains without starting with the undisputed masters of the craft, the Bad Boy Detroit Pistons of the late 1980s. This team, led by Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, and most notably, the infamous Bill Laimbeer, didn't just play basketball, they waged war. Their style was physical, aggressive, and utterly unapologetic. They were the immovable object in the path of destiny for so many beloved teams. Their primary targets? The high-flying Showtime Lakers of Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and of course the ascendant Chicago Bulls, spearheaded by a young, hungry Michael Jordan. For the Lakers, the Pistons were the gritty, blue-collar antithesis to Hollywood glamour. For Jordan, they were the relentless brick wall he had to smash through to reach his ultimate potential. Bill Laimbeer, in particular, became the poster child for their villainy. With his seemingly innocent blonde hair and stern demeanor, he was a master of the hard foul, the subtle elbow, and the psychological jab. Crowds despised him, and he seemed to feed off of it. He embraced the boos, relished the glares. He was the enforcer, the instigator, and perhaps the spiritual leader of the Bad Boys ethos. And then there was the infamous walk-off in 1991. After finally being dethroned by the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals, most of the Pistons, led by Isaiah Thomas, walked off the court with seconds remaining, refusing to shake hands with the victors. It was a gesture that solidified their villain status in the eyes of many, seen as the ultimate sign of poor sportsmanship. But for them it was a refusal to acknowledge the passing of the torch, a final defiant act. They were the bad boys, and they went out on their own terms, no matter how much it riled up the basketball world. They taught the league that sometimes to win, you had to be willing to be hated. From the gritty streets of Detroit, we fast forward to a decision that sent shockwaves across the entire sporting world and temporarily transformed the league's golden boy into its most polarizing figure. The decision of LeBron James. LeBron James, the Akron kid, the prodigal son, was supposed to bring a championship to his home state of Ohio. He was the chosen one, the undisputed king of Cleveland. But in 2010, after years of trying and failing to win a title with the Cavaliers, he made a prime-time televised announcement that he was taking his talents to South Beach to join Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh on the Miami Heat. The reaction was immediate and ferocious. From Cleveland, where fans burned his jersey, and owner Dan Gilbert penned a scathing letter to the rest of the NBA, many viewed it as a betrayal. LeBron was no longer the humble kid from Ohio. He was now perceived as arrogant, entitled, and worst of all, a quitter who took the easy route to a championship. He created a super team before super team was a widely accepted concept, especially when formed by star players dictating their moves. The Heat became the ultimate villain, not just because they were incredibly talented, but because of how they came together and the almost theatrical arrogance with which they approached their early years. Remember the preseason pep rally, promising not one, not two, not three championships? It was pure fuel for the hate fire. For 4 years, the Miami Heat were the ultimate antagonists. Every win was met with a chorus of boos on the road. Every loss a cause for celebration among opposing fan bases. LeBron, once universally beloved, had taken on the mantle of the villain. But here's the twist. It forced him to evolve. He had to learn how to lead under immense pressure, how to embrace the hate and turn it into fuel. And when he eventually returned to Cleveland and delivered that promised championship, the villain narrative began to shift, proving that sometimes even the most hated figures can complete a hero's journey. Our next villain is a contemporary master of the dark arts, Draymond Green. Draymond Green isn't just a phenomenal basketball player, a defensive anchor, and a brilliant passer. He is also the undisputed irritant-in-chief of the modern NBA. He doesn't need a primetime special or a walk-off to earn his villain stripes. He earns them every single game, one scream, one glare, one controversial foul at a time. His villainy isn't about being an unstoppable force. It's about being an unrelenting nuisance. He's the guy who gets under your skin, who lives rent-free in your head. He embodies the Golden State Warriors dynasty's edge, their fierce competitiveness, and sometimes their perceived arrogance. From his pointed trash talk to his highly debated nut taps and flailing limbs, Draymond constantly pushes the boundaries of what's acceptable on the court. He's been suspended from crucial playoff games, incurred countless technical fouls, and has been at the center of countless controversies. But here's the thing about Draymond. His teammates, his coach, and the Warriors fan base absolutely adore him. To them, he's a passionate leader, a relentless competitor, and the emotional heartbeat of their team. He sacrifices his body, calls out opponents, and provides the fire that often sparks their runs. He's their lovable rogue. Outside of that bubble, however, he's the guy you love to hate. He's the reason rival fans scream at their TVs, the one who makes you question the refs, and the player whose antics you just can't ignore. He's the embodiment of winning at all costs, even if it means being universally reviled by everyone else. And in an era where star players are often guarded and media-trained, Draymond's raw, unvarnished intensity makes him a truly compelling, if infuriating, villain. Finally, let's talk about a man who, like LeBron, made a controversial move, but in a way that for many felt even more calculated and, dare I say, treacherous: Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was the undisputed MVP, the scoring champion, the quiet assassin of the Oklahoma City Thunder. He was admired for his silky smooth game, his humble demeanor, and his loyalty to a small market team. But in 2016, after a heartbreaking 3-1 collapse against the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, Durant made the hardest road decision. He joined the very team that had just eliminated him. This move sparked an intense backlash that in many ways surpassed even the decision. For many fans, it wasn't just about joining a super team. It was about joining the enemy. It felt like a shortcut to a championship, a betrayal of competitive integrity. He joined a 73-win team, turning an already dominant force into an almost unbeatable one. Durant, who had always seemed above the fray, found himself in a firestorm of criticism. He was called soft, a cupcake, a snake. The criticism was so pervasive that he even famously, and infamously, used burner accounts on social media to defend himself. This only deepened the villain narrative, painting him as thin-skinned and insecure, despite his immense talent. He won 2 championships with the Warriors, earned 2 Finals MVPs, and proved he was still one of the greatest players in the world. But for a significant portion of the NBA fan base, those rings were tainted, earned through what they perceived as a cowardly move. Durant's villainy wasn't loud like Laimbeer's or public like LeBron's. It was quieter, more insidious, built on a foundation of perceived betrayal. Even now, years after leaving the Warriors, the snake memes persist, a testament to how deeply that decision resonated and cemented his place as a complex, often misunderstood NBA villain. So, what makes an NBA villain? Is it raw aggression, a controversial decision, or simply being too good for too long? It's often a combination of all these things, filtered through the lens of rival fan bases and the high stakes of championship basketball. These villains, whether they embraced the role or had it thrust upon them, are an integral part of NBA history. They add spice, drama, and a compelling antagonist to the hero narratives we all love. They make the triumphs sweeter and the rivalries unforgettable. They force us to examine our own biases and remind us that in sports, as in life, perspective is everything. They remind us that sometimes the most hated player on the court is simply the one standing between your team and glory. And in the end, isn't that what makes the game so thrilling? Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the darker side of basketball. What do you think? Who are your favorite NBA villains? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Clutch Time Stories for more in-depth basketball narratives, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next tale. Until next time, keep living that Clutch Time life.